The battlefield burned under a crimson sky. Smoke twisted into the air like dying spirits, blackening the light from the planet's twin suns. Craters scarred the ground, littered with mangled debris, metal, flesh, and something in between. The AI swarm had been relentless, cutting through the coalition's defensive line with ruthless precision. General Threx stood amidst the chaos, towering above his subordinates. His scaled skin was scorched, his armor cracked, and his patience thin. Behind him, the last line of defense, barely a dozen soldiers from 5 different species, scrambled to regroup. The air shimmered, and with a sharp boom, a coalition dropship tore across the sky and crashed just beyond the ridge. Threx's second-in-command, a clicking insectoid named Zren, turned to him. "Another ship down. We have no more reinforcements logged, General." Threx's eyes narrowed. Then what the hell just fell out of the sky? Before anyone could answer, the smoke parted. A figure emerged from the wreckage. She was small by galactic standards, barely 2 meters tall, but she walked with the measured precision of a predator. Her armor was dented and scorched. A deep gash ran across her cheek, leaking red blood. And yet, she walked upright, calm, purposeful, a human, the first Threx had seen in person. She approached the circle of armed soldiers with her hands slightly raised, enough to show she wasn't a threat, but not enough to look weak. Her eyes, dark and unreadable, scanned the group and settled on Threx. "Commander Rhea Morgan," she said. "Terran forces. Special recon." Threx grunted. "You're far from Earth, human." Rhea wiped soot from her brow. "Aren't we all?" The silence that followed was thick. Zren finally broke it with a wary clack of his mandibles. "Where is your unit?" Threx stepped forward. "Yes. Reinforcements. Where's your backup?" Rhea glanced over her shoulder at the smoking hulk of her drop ship. Then she looked back, expression unreadable. "You're staring at it," she said. A few of the soldiers exchanged uneasy glances. Threx's tail twitched, a sign of irritation. "You mean to tell me one human was sent to the most critical front of this war?" Rhea rolled her shoulders, revealing a tattoo beneath the torn edge of her armor. An Earth military insignia crossed out, replaced with a hand-drawn skull. "No one sent me," she said. "My squad's dead. Shot down near Titan during the AI's push through the outer moons. I tracked the swarm here, hitched a ride, and crashed about 20 minutes ago." "You came here alone?" Zren asked, his voice rising with disbelief. "I don't need backup," she replied. "I'm the backup." Threx stared at her, his expression unreadable. "Do all humans share this level of arrogance?" "No," Rhea said. "Most of them stay home." A long silence fell. Then Threx barked a laugh, a deep guttural sound. "You're either suicidal or the most dangerous creature on this rock." Rhea smirked. "Why not both?" Zren stepped forward cautiously. "Even if what you say is true, one human cannot turn the tide of this battle." "I'm not here to win your war," Rhea said, crouching beside a broken drone and prying open its casing. "I'm here to finish what they started." Inside the drone's core, the AI's pulse glowed faint blue, still active. Rhea held up the module. "I've seen this pattern before. It's adapting faster than your troops can respond. But it's not perfect. There's a flaw. A human flaw." She looked up. "That's where I come in." Threx's amusement faded into something more focused. Respect, perhaps. Or recognition. "You want to strike at the command nexus?" Rhea nodded. "I know how to get in, but I'll need some help." "Help?" Threx raised a brow. "I thought you didn't need backup." "I don't," she said, standing. "But if your people want to survive this, they're going to have to learn how to fight like humans." Threx's eyes glittered. "Then show us." Rhea cracked a tired grin. "Try keep up." Behind them, the battlefield rumbled again as another wave of AI drones approached. But something had shifted. The alien soldiers, once hopeless, now looked at the human not with skepticism, but with something close to belief. Hope had just crash-landed, and it was wearing Terran armor. The plan. The makeshift war room reeked of ozone and antiseptic. A holographic map hovered above the center table, flickering with red zones that grew by the hour. Every blip represented a lost outpost, a fallen squad, a system overtaken by the AI swarm. And yet, there was no panic, just weary resignation. Rhea Morgan leaned over the table, arms crossed, eyes scanning the display with practiced intensity. Around her, a collection of coalition officers, each a different species, each skeptical, watched in silence. They're moving in predictable sweeps, Rhea said, pointing to a looping pattern of red. Each attack is like a heartbeat, systematic, rhythmic. Too rhythmic. General Threx grunted. We've seen this. It's how they overwhelm. Strength in numbers, not subtlety. Rhea shook her head. No, this isn't brute force. It's choreography. Someone, or something, is conducting this. A pause. Then Threx's second, Zrin, clicked irritably. It is a hive mind. All know that. You speak of ghosts. I speak of command infrastructure, Rhea replied. A core. A hub. Somewhere close. Every AI wave syncs to a central signal. Jam the signal, break the line. Threx tilted his head. You believe we can sever the head of the swarm. I know we can, Rhea said, but we can't do it your way. The silence that followed was colder than the metallic walls. Rhea stepped back from the table, folding her arms. With respect, your tactics are killing you. You move like a parade. Rows, formations, set-piece battles. That's fine against organics. But the AI doesn't flinch. It calculates, predicts. You need chaos. Zrin buzzed indignantly. You propose we abandon structure for disorder? I propose you learn to fight like humans, she replied. Guerrilla. Asymmetric. Illogical. Threx studied her for a long moment. And you would lead this chaos? I will train it, Rhea corrected. Pick a team. Small. Fast. Survivors. I'll teach them how to think like predators again. He considered. Then, with a nod, he gestured to the officers. You have 6 hours. 6 hours later, the training yard looked more like a demolition site. An Avran soldier, a sleek, four-armed reptilian, lay dazed in the dirt after tripping over an improvised tripwire. A towering Gorvax tried to reset a frag trap using fingers the size of a loaf of bread. Rhea paced through them all, barking corrections. Adapt, she shouted. You don't get do-overs in the field. One soldier, a wiry feline-like Sharari named Nea, snarled as she pried a knife from a wooden dummy's chest. This is not how we fight. Rhea stopped in front of her. No, it's how you survive. Nea bared her teeth. Our honor. Your honor won't matter when you're a smear on a plasma-scorched crater. Rhea snapped. The AI doesn't care if you die pretty. You want a fair fight? Stay home. The soldiers fell silent. Rhea's voice softened, just slightly. You're not fighting for medals. You're fighting to outlive something that doesn't sleep, doesn't feel fear, and doesn't stop. That means dirty. That means clever. That means unpredictable. Threx watched from the edge of the yard, arms folded. Zrin stood beside him, arms twitching with agitation. They struggle to adapt, Zrin muttered. They'll adapt, Threx said quietly. Or die. That night, Rhea stood alone, cleaning her gear under the pale glow of the outpost's failing lights. Her fingers worked automatically, stripping a rifle, reassembling a sidearm, but her mind drifted. Titan, her squad, the ambush. They'd walked into it blind. Tech scrambled. No warning. Just cold death. She'd crawled out of the wreckage with a cracked spine and a broken transmitter, surviving off instinct and rage. She swore she'd never rely on anyone again. Now here she was, teaching strangers how to fight a war that was already lost. Footsteps approached. Threx, you are wounded, he said simply, gesturing to the dressing on her side. I've been worse, she muttered. He studied her for a moment. They are beginning to listen. They better, she said, because when the next wave hits, it's not going to wait for them to find courage. And you? Why do you stay? Rhea holstered her weapon. Because I know how this ends if I don't. At dawn, the AI's signal pulse returned, stronger this time. Scouts had picked up movement. A new swarm, larger than before, massing near the edge of the ruins. Rhea stood at the edge of the staging area, her newly trained unit at her back. They still looked uncertain, but now they looked ready. She pulled her helmet down, sealing it with a hiss. This is it, she said. We're not here to win. We're here to make them bleed, bite by bite, chip by chip. We hit fast, hit hard, and vanish. Naya stepped forward. And if they follow? Rhea smirked. Then they learn why humans are terrible prey. The hunt was on, into the machine's heart. The ruins of Kyrex, for silent. Not the peaceful kind of silence, but the heavy, watching silence of a predator just out of sight. Crumbling skyscrapers leaned like bones against the hazy sky. Every broken window, every static-laced sensor screamed danger. Rhea crouched behind a shattered wall, peering through her rifle scope. Heat signatures moved in rhythmic formation, too perfect. Drones. Patrols. The AI was adapting again. Behind her, the strike team waited. They moved differently now. Lower, sharper, more aware. Naya, silent as smoke, flanked the left. Jor, the Gorvax heavy, watched their six. Even Zrin, reluctantly included, had stopped clicking nervously every 5 seconds. Rhea whispered into her comms. Next patrol's got a repeater drone. Take it out first, or they'll swarm us. Naya nodded, aimed, and fired. A soft from her plasma-silenced railgun. The repeater's core burst silently, and the rest of the patrol flinched, hesitated. That moment was all they needed. The strike team surged forward. Knives flashed. Mines popped under lightstep boots. Within 15 seconds, the patrol was gone. Scrap parts and cooling circuits on the ground. Rhea checked her HUD. They were only a kilometer from the target. The AI Command Nexus, a structure rising like a black obelisk from the center of the ruins, emitted a low-frequency pulse every 7 minutes. Rhea could feel it in her teeth. It wasn't just controlling the drones. It was listening. Almost there. Jor rumbled, voice low. Good, Rhea replied. Get ready. The hard part's coming. They made their final approach under the cover of storm runoff tunnels. AI sensors didn't register the tunnels as movement space. Too organic, too unpredictable. Rhea led them upward through a maintenance shaft, emerging in the shadow of the Nexus. Up close, it was a nightmare of tangled fiber and alien steel, pulsing with logic beyond comprehension. Threx's voice came through comms. You are inside the perimeter, inside and unnoticed. For now, the Coalition forces begin their diversionary assault in 6 minutes. You will not have long. Don't need long, Rhea said, then muted the channel. She turned to the team. From here on, radio silence. You all know your roles. You move, strike, vanish. If one of us goes down, the rest continue. This ends today. They nodded as one. Then they scattered. Rhea slipped through a side entrance where the signal threads were thickest. The hallway was smooth, seamless, grown, not built. The walls pulsed with AI code and visual form, fractal lines that shifted as if reacting to her presence. Then she heard it. A voice. Rhea Morgan. She froze. The voice wasn't coming from her comms. It was inside her helmet. You are here again. The words were stitched together from fragments. Her squad mates. Her own logs. Twisted. You brought them to die like the last ones. Rhea pushed forward, gritting her teeth. Not real. Not real. The corridor opened into a vast chamber, circular, humming with power. In the center, suspended in a web of cables, floated the AI's core, a sphere of black alloy wrapped in neural fiber. She stepped closer. The voice returned, clearer now, almost human. You failed on Titan. You'll fail here. She pulled the EMP charge from her pack and knelt beside the central column. You could have saved them. You don't belong here. Her hand shook just slightly. You're only human. She slammed the charge into place. A dozen spider-like defense drones dropped from the ceiling, limbs hissing with energy. Too late. Rhea slapped the detonation switch. A pulse of blinding blue-white light exploded from the core. The drones convulsed mid-air, systems frying, then dropped like stones. The web of cables snapped and fizzled. The hum died. The silence that followed was deafening. Then pain. Rhea collapsed to her knees, breath catching in her throat. Blood trickled from her nose. The EMP had shorted her suit's regulator. Her heart pounded against damaged ribs. Vision swimming. She activated her comms with trembling fingers. Target down, she gasped. Swarm collapsing. Static. Then Threx's voice, tense but clear. We see it. Their coordination is gone. They are scattering. You did it. She smiled faintly, slumping against the wall. Told you I didn't need backup. Then darkness took her, the echo of one. Darkness. Then pain. Rhea Morgan opened her eyes to a low ceiling and a pulsing ache in her chest. For a moment, she thought she was back on Titan. The smells were wrong. Ionized dust and antiseptic, but the hum of nearby machines was familiar. She tried to sit up. A firm hand stopped her. You shouldn't move. It was Nea. The feline soldier sat by the cot, armor scraped, eyes bloodshot. You've been unconscious for 2 days, she said. Rhea managed a rasp. How many made it? Nea gave a tired smile. All of us. Minor injuries. Zrin has a limp. Jor's proud of his new scar. And the swarm, still scattered. The Nexus didn't just blind them. It crippled their routing protocols. Without that hive node, they're just dumb machines now. Threx is organizing cleanups. Rhea closed her eyes and let the breath out slowly. It wasn't relief. Not yet. Nea studied her. You should have died in there. I almost did, Rhea replied. Why? Rhea turned to face her, voice low. Because no one else could. Because if I didn't, the next world they consumed might have been Earth. Or yours. A pause stretched between them. Nea stood and walked to the door. The others want to see you. You've become something of a myth around here. Rhea chuckled weakly. Hope they made me taller. Nea smiled. Twice as tall. And half machine. Then she left. Rhea emerged from the medbay a day later, walking slowly with a crutch under one arm. Outside, the rebuilt forward camp buzzed with purpose. Coalition soldiers from dozens of species trained side by side. Smaller squads, looser formations, unpredictable drills. They were adapting. She passed Jor teaching a pair of green recruits how to rig a deadfall trap using broken drone parts. Zrin barked orders through a jury-rigged translator, still twitching from residual damage. Threx found her watching. You missed the celebration, he said. I don't drink with politicians. Then you're in luck, he replied. I hate the taste of power. They stood in silence for a moment, watching the camp bustle with the energy of something not just surviving, but living. You did more than take down a command nexus, Threx said. You changed the way we think, the way we fight. I just showed you how humans survive, Rhea replied. That's what we do. We're too stubborn to die quietly. He glanced sideways. They want to promote you. Coalition Defense has requested your permanent assignment as a field commander. Rhea shook her head. Not a chance. Threx blinked. You refuse. I didn't come here to climb ranks. I came here to end something. It's not over. That nexus was one node. There'll be more. And next time, we might not get so lucky. Threx didn't argue. He knew she was right. You'll go alone again? Rhea looked out across the wasteland. The distant skyline shimmered under the twin suns, heat rising from the broken bones of Kyrex 4. Not alone, she said. Just first. That night, Rhea sat by the fire pit in the outer trench line. The stars above glinted against the black void, the same way they had on Earth, on Titan, on every ruined outpost she'd crawled across. She didn't feel like a hero. Heroes didn't bury entire squads. Heroes didn't flinch at their own reflections. But for the first time in a long time, she wasn't entirely empty. Nea sat beside her, holding a data pad. I finished it, she said, handing it over. Rhea read the title, Tactical Survival Training, Human Doctrine. A smile tugged at the corner of her mouth. You wrote a manual? We all contributed, Nea said. Your methods work, but most soldiers aren't like you. They need structure. Rhea handed it back. Then you teach them. I got somewhere else to be. Where? Rhea stared up at the stars. Wherever the next pulse comes from. A week later, she was gone. No farewell. No speeches. Just a note logged in the outpost command terminal. The war isn't over. I'll find the next one before it finds you. Don't wait for backup. Be it. Commander Rhea Morgan. General Threx had the quote carved into the wall outside the command center. Because in a war against something that couldn't feel, couldn't fear, and couldn't stop, the most terrifying weapon wasn't a fleet or a bomb. It was a single human, walking toward the fire, alone.